in the shotgun, 1st and 10. At the right tip of the blue star at the Dallas 48. Snap is back. All kinds of time. There he goes, deep to Neighbors on the right side of the end zone. Oh, he caught it. Oh, my goodness. Over Elam and Wilson with 25 seconds left, and the Giants have regained the lead.
Bobby, take us through the press box when that happened. I had tweeted out with the Cowboys score before that, well, this defense is still capable of screwing this up. And then Malik Neighbors, even while being blinded by Kaiir Elam had the hand over the face mask, over the visor. Neighbors still able to bring in another Russell Wilson. You let Russell freaking Wilson, who they wanted to replace after week 1, to throw for 450 yards and 3 touchdowns. And you allowed Danger
Unlimited
to be Mr. Unlimited.
Man, either the defense and secondary is that bad or Prime Russ has returned.
Neither one is the answer.
I know the answer. Neither one's a great thing because Prime Russ is still pretty darn good. But we know the answer, and that's a long-term 15 more week problem.
But for that touchdown to happen in that moment, and it's not like Cowboys had to get field goals to tie. The Giants had to get touchdowns.
Yeah, they did. That was the problem.
They're down 4. That little seesaw back and forth, it's like, all right, you got something to play with here. They have to score a touchdown. Yeah. And they did every time.
Yep, and that was the thing. So we weren't even in the press box at that point. Usually around the 5-minute mark, we'll go down to the tunnel area to just be by the locker for whatever outcome there's. So usually that's a pretty uneventful last 5 minutes, even if it's a close game. It's like, all right, one team's driving, and we're going to see what happens here. You don't normally expect there to be 4 or 5 scores in those last 5 minutes. And so we're all kind of down by the little Miller Lite Club area where everybody walks out, the players walk out and stuff like that. And when Neighbors scored that touchdown, it was a lot of laughing.
Laughing?
In a, what kind of ridiculous S is this? It was just there's no way they just did that again. They didn't cover it up. And, again, it's that Miller Lite Club where all those fans are standing there trying to get autographs from players as they come in. They're all hyped. They're thinking they're about to win this game. And at the same time that we just start just almost going you got to be kidding me. That whole room just goes, oh. And it was quiet in that Miller Lite Club.
Look at the longest catches in the Giant box score. This is absurd. Malik had one for 48. Wan'Dale Robinson, who had 8 for 142 on you, he had one for 50, and Darius Slayton had one for 52. There are 3 50-yard catches in this effing box score.
Julian has Wan'Dale Robinson on his bench on his fantasy team, and in the middle of this is his first year he's playing. In the middle of the game, he's like, how do I get him to go into my starting lineup? And I'm like, no, man, you can't do that. You got to do that pregame, bro.
Brian Schottenheimer on the defensive, I don't even want to call it performance.
No, I think, again, Ed, somebody asked me that earlier. I want to look at the film. There was definitely some coverage busts, things we got to clean up. I know one time we didn't carry the guy down the middle of the field. That was the first touchdown. That was one of the linebackers. But again, we have to be better than that. You can't give up, that many explosive passes. And a lot of those were, again, either he was doubled, talking about Neighbors, or we didn't play the coverage the right way. Guy didn't overlap, guy didn't buzz, guy didn't carry 3. And when you do that, you open yourselves up. I thought the fans were really, really loud. Fans, keep being loud. We'll get the coverage unit fixed. Sometimes it's hand signals. You don't get your hand signals communicated. So one guy's playing something, another guy's playing something else. But I'll speak a little bit more to it tomorrow without watching the film because it will be something we spend quite a bit of time on to make sure we make those adjustments before we get to Chicago.
Jadeveon Clowney is here to help. Jerry confirming with Bobby right there that they are bringing in Clowney, but the top 2 star downs that you're going to get from the Tolos that we need the breakdown of are going to be Trayvon Diggs and Donovan Wilson working in tandem. Brian brought us on the way as we speak, texting me to watch the film.
Yeah, and that first one there, Schottenheimer went ahead and put responsibility on that one. That one everybody thought was Diggs on the first touchdown. He's saying is not. He's saying that's one of the linebackers was supposed to carry Neighbors down the field, and that didn't happen. You get that in Tampa too. You need the linebackers to be good coverage linebackers. I still don't understand why, if you were going to come in here and run Tampa 2 and run that system.
No, just explain what Tampa 2 is.
Tampa 2 is like a normal cover 2, except like the linebacker and center has to be like basically function as a safety at times and be a really good cover guy. That's where Derek Brooks was always 5 interceptions or like he was this.
And the 2 safeties are going to stay deeper back.
Yeah, they're
keep
playing
things in front.
Yeah, they're playing the 2 zones up top now. And then like the linebackers generally responsible for seam route stuff up the middle, different things like that.
Because the weakness against cover 2, if you play Madden or any football game, is supposed to be on the sidelines, like that pass that you can run a corner route or you can run an out route. That's supposed to be the weakness of cover Tampa 2.
So in like typical cover 2, like you will. Given when that's the read, like for instance, one of the cover 2 beaters a lot of teams run is it's an option route where the receiver's going, and as they're going up, they just read the safety. If it's single high, they run the seam. If it's cover 2, they're supposed to bend it and run the post and basically drop it in between the safeties. Tampa 2 says, all right, well then we'll put a linebacker that will have drop there, and that's how we'll be the cover 2
middle.
He'll be responsible for the middle.
So cover 2 different from Tampa 2.
Yeah, Tampa 2 is a slight difference. It's a variation though. But it's something that I don't know, and I don't know which linebacker it was. It would have been Murray or Shan, probably Murray, that was supposed to carry him. But again, if you were going to run this much and have the linebackers do this much that was going to be dependent on their coverage ability and things like that, why were you not investing in like linebacker? You just kind of went, yeah, we'll throw anybody out there. You treated it like the way Rod Marinelli treated defensive tackle for forever. I'm just like, I'll find somebody. I don't need somebody to do a whole bunch of that. But you need Sean Lee's back there. And Rod always had a Sean Lee here to do that.
Neighbors putting it on Trayvon. That's what it felt like. A 29-yard touchdown against Diggs to make it 13-3. Now, Jesse Holley came out to defend Diggs a little bit, former receiver, friend of the station and show. Jesse said, look, 90% of NFL corners cannot cover Neighbors without help, especially not a DB recovering from a serious knee injury and on a pitch count. There was a 3rd and 1 that went for 28 yards, Neighbors versus Diggs. Donovan Wilson got the game turning interception in overtime, but he's going to have Cam Scatterbo nightmares looking at Scatterbo running him over. That's when Jackson Dart came in, and Scatterbo had a 24-yarder in the 4th. Donovan Wilson just trying to hang on for dear life, and then Scatterbo scores a touchdown to make it 23-20. But Wilson and Diggs in the crosshairs.
Yeah, I will say Scatterbo, the most emotionally impactful 2-yard runs that you'll ever see. The 24-yard run, I would like to point out that he just had
he's been fun.
An easy lane, and then he still got caught in the end.
The one near the goal line was a fun run where he's bull rushing, doing his Mike Alstott, then he just kind of does a spin.
But that's twice you've invoked Mike Alstott.
I'm going to do it all his whole career.
Who else can he do? There's a white running back.
It's a white running back that likes to lower his head in an aggressive manner. I wish somebody would just rip the ball out of his hand.
Alstott was a stud. I'm just saying the reality is that he's Hunter Lipke's before photo is what Cam Scatterbo is.
I want to give a star up defensively while we crush them, and I think this is an undercover. I had this moment and this guy as a turning point. I thought it was going to be the turning point, and then there was 17 other scores after that. I'm giving a star up to Solomon Thomas. Solomon Thomas with some big key plays in this game. He had a 3rd and 2 after a Dak interception, huge play on that. He had a 4th down pressure that ultimately led to that Scatterbo drop with that pass. So I'm giving Solomon Thomas a little star up as we destroy the defense today. Brought to you by Wild Fork Foods.
So I didn't notice Thomas as much. I did see people after the game though say they thought Thomas played well. So I think I didn't. I'm bet when I go back and watch today and see the tape, I'm guessing he's going to flash because there have been so many people saying like he put a solid performance out there. Outside of that,
at least.
Outside of that, man, I did think, other than Kenneth Murray being responsible for that touchdown, I did think Kenneth Murray made a couple of plays, like big plays in the open field. Like he was a sure tackler. He had a couple tackles for loss. But man, you're not generating any pressure.
Yeah, we're blaming the back end and the linebackers and secondary. Micah Parsons yesterday would have been picture perfect ideal. As you know, they had to drop back in passing situations to score touchdowns, and you had 0 presence. Your sacks came from Kenny Clark, James Houston, and I think there was another combo one with Osa and maybe Kenny. But Ezeraku or Sam or Nealand, it is not there. And it has not been there. Micah just rearing back, knowing that they're going to pass, would have disrupted one, if not multiple of those attempts.
Yeah.
And you really felt it.
And you don't know how Russ's numbers look. Just like, if Bland is out there, like, is Bland really going to be worth 175? You're like, we have no idea, right? But it certainly would have been 450 with all those touchdowns. I don't think.
Yeah.
Jeez. You mentioned, I was just trying to look up and see how some of the numbers looked yesterday, by the way, and you mentioned Solomon Thomas. He was on the field for 12 run snaps. He made 7 run tackles on those 12 snaps.
Wow.
They averaged 2.5 yards per carry on the run when he was out there, and when he was off the field, it was 6 yards per carry.
Nick Harris tweeted this. This is the state of things defensively. Brevin Spanford, CeeDee Lamb, and Hunter Lipke made more tackles than the DN room.
It's not good.
Those guys
That's
don't
interesting.
play defense.
No, they don't.
Spanford, Lamb, and Lipke made more tackles than the DN room, according to Nick Harris. How close can it come? Solved is a laughable word to use. Fixed, addressed, more on that to come throughout the show and the week, but it is a Cowboys Monday to celebrate a win and get to 1-1.